New on Curiosity Stream. She was a loving wife, a devoted mother. She also stole atomic secrets and gave them to the Soviets. Meet the woman whose deception kick-started the Cold War on the spy who stole the atom bomb. And
what if they catch you?
Then I shall be shot.
They're coming! Come back!
relive history's most death-defying escapes. It's Impossible Escapes, Civil War. Watch now on Curiosity Stream. Annual plans are $20, just $1.67 a month. Visit curiositystream.com.
This podcast is brought to you by the Washington State Department of Health. When we think about the COVID-19 vaccine hesitancy in the Black community, let's remember, it didn't happen by chance. It's justified in history. But the will to change the narrative is strong today, and our people are lending their voices to the conversation. We're sharing our stories and the reasons that made us choose the vaccine so we can lead the way for others to make a well-informed choice too. To hear our stories, visit hereforuswa.org.
Hey, Ola, it's Miles. Thank you guys for listening to the Men's Room Daily Podcast.
Have you heard our newest podcast? It's called The Greatest Story Never Told.
Download it today on radio.com. Be sure to subscribe. New episodes are uploaded every Tuesday at noon.
Unfortunately, what you're about to hear is real. The members of this radio program are simply not that bright, or what some people would call educated. They are merely stupid. They're not trying to offend anyone on purpose. And all have played doctors on TV. You have been warned and are cordially invited to join the party. This is the Men's Room.
Forget it, man, and get with the countdown. Get with the countdown. Shake this square world and blast off for Kicksville. The trippers, the grasshoppers, the hip ones, all gathered in secrecy and flying high as a kite.
This is the Men's Room with Miles and Thrill. You know what they say, shake your radio more than 3 times, and you're playing with it. You're listening to the Men's Room.
Hey, away we go. Welcome to Season 16, Episode number 3,418. Along with Steve the Thrill Hill, the Ted Smith, and Mike Hawk. And you are in the Men's Room. On tap today, we celebrate 50 years of KISW on the Rock. We will be joined by the lovely Jolene, Steve Slayton, Gary Crow, Chris Novoselic. We hope Dave Grohl. And many, many more.
Well done.
And, of course, we'll do the Men's Room shot of the day. Since
hell yeah.
A bottle of Jack Daniels. That is all coming on today's very special KISW 50th anniversary episode of the Men's Room.
And now, here's the question.
Hola, bitches. Good day to you and yours. Today is the day that we, KISW, celebrate our 50th anniversary. Actually, let me rephrase that. Today is the first day that we celebrate KISW's 50th anniversary. And we have a whole year to celebrate, but it begins today. And a lot of things have happened in 50 years. Sadly, I'm old enough to know most of those. But let's see. The year that KISW was launched, a man by the name of Charles Manson, he was found guilty of murder. Ted, Disney World opened in Florida. Wow. And then a little closer to home, and I want you to think about this, Starbucks opened its first location at Pike Place Market. You know how many they have now? Over 31,200 locations. Meanwhile, KISW, still here. Now, today, as we've done all day, we're celebrating because, frankly, we feel awesome. And on this awesome day, we get to talk with a lot of people that have influenced or been influenced by KISW, and that includes band members, former employees, the guys behind Sub Pop Records, actors, a whole bunch of people. And it's actually kind of mind-blowing. I will not lie to you about that. But also, we want to hear from the people who are and have been most instrumental to KISW's 50 years of success, and that would be you. Because, look, I don't care if you're the world's biggest, actor, the biggest band, the biggest author, comedian, whatever. Your fans make you. And you drunken clowns, you get to share and celebrate this anniversary with us because, quite simply, without you, there is no us. So in addition to hearing from generations of luminaries, including, hopefully, Dave Grohl, that's a hell of a sale, Miles.
Maybe
and
Ray
hopefully, And maybe Rainn Wilson.
Hey.
We're a show of maybes, you sons of bitches. You can't find that anywhere.
What time was it again?
But we also want to hear from you. So our question today, quite simply, what is your memory from KISW?
Be a part of the big show. Call 206-421-ROCK. Like the Men's Room on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Men's Room Live. And send those emails to the Men's Room at KISW.com. Ladies and gentlemen, we welcome in the one and only Sergeant Hair Club with a special announcement.
For 3,500 shows that you introduce every day, and you say a very special edition, today you finally have reached that point where it really is a special edition.
It's amazing, isn't it? Finally.
Amazing. Mm-hmm. Well, I really don't have anything prepared. This has been overwhelming all day long today. 2 years ago, it occurred to us. We've got all these boxes of archives. We know a lot of people of our past. There's a lot of musicians that have come from this city that matter. And you can't say that in most cities.
Nope.
A lot of rock stations, not a lot, a few rock stations have been around this long. But we needed to do something big and we wanted to celebrate. And all of a sudden people came out of the woodwork. Many people came out of the woodwork. One person who matters quite a bit in King County and to Western Washington, Dow Constantine, who was kind enough to proclaim this KISW.
Oh, get that
right.
Awesome.
Wow.
So here's the proclamation.
Would you like me to read it?
You should read it, but you should also know. Now, I don't want to reveal any of the other stuff because when you're dealing with governmental offices, we got a video from the mayor's office, which is great, but it was so encrypted. I needed two people to get it out of my email. So you want to protect all that stuff, but not just the guy who handed this over to me, but Dow himself. Massive music fans, and both of these folks grew up on this radio station. So that, it just warmed the heart. It's real nice.
Should I read Hair Club this proclamation?
I think you should.
From King County.
Do you have proclamation music?
I do.
I don't know that we get a lot of proclamations.
Hunties?
Special edition.
Hunties! King County Proclamation. Whereas KISW-FM, a low-wattage Seattle classic music station, was purchased in 1969 by K. Smith, owners of top 40 giant KJR and K. Smith Studios. And whereas the KISW that Seattle rockers know and love debuted in 1971, when the station adopted a progressive rock format. Under the ownership of Seattle businessman Lester Smith and entertainers Danny Kaye and Frank frickin' Sinatra, starting a gradual shift to the album-oriented rock format that made the station locally famous. And whereas, with all due respect to their competitors, KISW was the station for the rocker kids, which in the 1970s, West Seattle was most of us. It was where you heard Led Zeppelin all the time, and Van Halen for the first time, and where you commiserated with other fans when Lynyrd Skynyrd's tour plane crashed, and when Keith Moon left us. And whereas KISW also helped break bands in Seattle through low-cost concerts featuring up-and-coming acts and many, many 30-minute rock attacks. And whereas under the brand 99.9 KISW, the Rock of Seattle, the station has continued to rock Seattle and the Puget Sound region under the ownership of Intercom Communications, which acquired the station in 1996. And whereas programming chief Steve Richards since 2002 and Ryan Gospel since 2002 have kept the hits coming in a new millennium with the goal of keeping KISW not just a rock station, but Seattle's most entertaining radio station. And whereas KISW will celebrate 50 years as a destination for local rock fans on February the 12th, 2021, with numerous on-air events. Now, therefore, I, Dow Constantine, executive of King County, do hereby proclaim February the 12th, 2021 to be KISW's 50th anniversary day. In King County, I encourage all county residents to join in this musical celebration. Dow Constantine, King County Executive.
New on Curiosity Stream.
Just because it hasn't been done before doesn't mean you can't.
Watch Earth's greatest minds forge our path to a better tomorrow. It's engineering the future. And Jaws, Star Wars, The Godfather, E.T. The biggest movies have even bigger music. From King Kong to The Dark Knight. See how musicians scored Hollywood's greatest hits on great film composers' music of the movies. Watch now on Curiosity Stream. Annual plans are $20, just $1.67 a month. Visit CuriosityStream.com.
This podcast is brought to you by the Washington State Department of Health. As we continue to listen, learn, and grow, we are amplifying Black voices and perspectives in an effort to start a new COVID-19 vaccine conversation. We're sharing stories intended to help us navigate this unprecedented time together and to co-create solutions in support of the Black community. Hear these stories at weconsiderwa.org.
Bro, gnarly. What's up, Taylor? Dude, that nerd in his electric hybrid totally blew the light while texting his yuppie friends.
That's so bogus, bro. Are you hurt?
Yeah, like I can't move my hips, bro. I think I broke my pelvis, man.
Dude, no way. Taylor, you need to drop a dime and talk with the lawyers at the Advocates Law Firm.
No way, can't afford that, bro.
Your crotch is broken, man, and they don't earn any money unless they win your case.
Dude, no way.
You get injured, the advocates get results. Contact me today at advocateslaw.com.
50 years of KISW continues on The Rock. It's like going back in time. Presented by Pilot Law, 99.9 KISW.
50th anniversary weekend brought to you by Palace Law. Be sure to go to KISW.com. Check out our brand new KISW 50th merch in the Rock Shop.
Yes, indeed.
The hoodie you're wearing, the t-shirt I have on, the trucker hat, the winter beanie, man. It is
I'd like to explain that all of the merchandise that is available will also be my wife's. Listen, here's the thing.
She's going to steal that.
She steals everything. She even asked me this morning. So I got the hoodie last night, and I intentionally put it on my work bag because I knew if I didn't, she was going to steal it. One of the first things she said to me this morning, "Where's your hoodie?" I said, "Why are you worried about it?" That was followed by, "Where's the knit cap?" Yep. I'm not making this up, man.
Those beanies are awesome.
My wife, I'm sure, will let me know this. I won't wear these things once beyond today. She
Great
commandeers
stuff.
everything.
KISW.com as we celebrate 50 years of the Rock. We first got here in 2005. Worked for about, 9 months on the Buzz radio
Until November.
Guys,
we moved here. Yeah, we moved over to KISW in November of 2005.
Honest to God, we were a little bit scared to come on KISW because we were doing a talk show on the Buzz Radio for Guys. The big station that we worked with at the time was 99.9 KISW down the hallway. And that featured Ricker in the afternoons, the lovely Jolene, Ryan Castle, Howard Stern was on in the mornings.
Right.
This is a flamethrower of a radio station.
It's intimidating.
Yeah, it really was. And when we first moved over to KISW, obviously, you get to know your dog Ricker.
Sure.
You get to know the lovely Jolene. I believe at first, Steve and I went in and tried to communicate with Ricker between when we switched our shift, and we couldn't understand what he was saying, so we made Ted and Ben do it. So then they went in there and did that, but every day we talked to...
I told Air Club, look, man, I can't talk to this guy. Not because he's a bad guy, he just makes noise.
I can't understand what he's saying.
Like you say something, his response will be like... I don't know. I'm not kidding.
Love Ricker to
So I
death.
said, look, I don't know what to do with that, man. So I'm out.
But every day we would bring in the lovely Jolene, and truth be told, the lovely Jolene, she absolutely would look at us with sometimes disgust, like, Miles, you're pissing me off already, and everything else. And I just
She was always very honest.
Yeah, so
She was mad at my lack of knowledge.
She really got mad when I farted. Yeah. I mean, this is like...
But man, oh man, talk about missing someone. We haven't seen her in a long time. So let's see if we can beam our satellites. Do we have with us the lovely Jolene? Jolene, are you there? Do you miss us?
I know that it's so hard for you to believe.
It is.
But I miss you guys so much. I miss you, I miss you, I miss you.
Joe, we miss you too. You're down in Colorado, correct?
Yeah, I've been in Denver, Colorado for the last 2 years.
Okay,
so.
the Mile High City. Does it live up to its name?
Absolutely. Yeah, it's great. Oxygen is a little tougher to get this high up. There's some things to get used to, but it's a dope city. I mean, there's a reason why I've always known musicians and friends that have lived in Denver, moved to Seattle. They're just really like-minded cities.
Joe, you were here at KISW before we got here, and then we came in.
But then you left.
Yeah, how long had you been here? When did you start at KISW?
2004. I believe I started in April of 2004.
And you came via Iowa?
Des Moines, Iowa, yeah.
Yeah, wow. That's kind of a culture shock, I guess.
So you've been there, Ernst. You've been how long? 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 You've been there, Ernst. You've been how long?
11 years. And I remember your tears, big boy.
Okay, yeah. 11 years altogether. What were some of, and you were really involved in the music scene here, and did you have any memories that really just stand out to you from your time Because you were always out. You were always at shows. You were always, interviewing bands, and you were always just on the go.
You were what they call the real deal. Like, a lot of people say all of that crap, and they don't mean it. And I know you know that to be true. You legitimately did and lived the way you said you lived when you're on the air, which is, to me, one of the most impressive things I've seen with anyone I've worked with. Like, legitimately, Jolene is out. She's up all night. She's hanging out with the bands, and you did your thing.
Thank you. Thank you for that, by the way. There were so many memories. And I guess in the 2 years, having a child and life being nuts, it's kind of hard to think about specific times, but really just so many Sunday nights with Loud and Local and having 15 plus musicians crammed into the studio. It's the camaraderie. It was the family. It was the support. It was all of these beloved outcasts coming together and finding a way to connect, and then a ton of incriminating stuff too. Oh yeah.
What was your favorite Seattle band experience as far as being able to interview someone, going to a show? I mean, is there anything that really stands out that where you think to yourself, man, that was a cool experience?
There were so many cool experiences. That's the tough part. And I had so much love for so many different bands out there and did my best to be a great ambassador. I about killed myself doing that, but that was a huge deal. But there were so many moments when I think about, talking with the Sonics,
Sure.
Back in the day. Developing a friendship with Jack and Dino meant so much to me. There were just so many times and so many things that as I'm further away from it now, it's tough to think of one specific thing.
Was there a time where you thought, oh my God, I cannot believe that this person is in front of me and I'm asking them questions?
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I think about Ozzy.
Yep. That was my first thought. Mm-hmm.
Interviews over the years, and I'm still kicking myself because I don't know where any pictures are. So I don't have any photographic evidence.
It's on the fourth phone from a long time ago that you own somewhere in a drawer.
Ozzy's one. Tony Iommi was another one, but I was just shaking like a leaf. So those are two that come to mind.
Okay. Yeah, Ozzy was my first thought. And I would say Rob Halford. That was the other one that blew my mind.
Oh, my God, yes. Yes.
Because he's such a proper gentleman. You know what I mean? He's like, I'm the god of metal, but he is just the proper British gentleman the whole time.
Oh, I'm going to leave and go get tea.
Yeah, he's that guy.
Right.
Oh, he's just like the best ambassador for the world of metal. And I got to do enough interviews with him throughout the years, and lots of mainly phone interviews, that he would call up and he would be like, Jolene, my metal queen. And I'm like,
okay.
Deuces, I'm done.
Right.
He's just so great. And I don't know what year it was when Priest came in and Tipton was with him, and I had just gotten my Rock-a-Rolla tattoo.
Oh, that's right.
Got to show it to him, and then there's Glenn Tipton whispering in my ear, "Is there a Rock-a-Rolla man?" And I was like,
"Oh yeah." Tipton was he's almost Spinal Tap in his own way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He's got this really dry sense of humor.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
He's awesome.
Ryan Castle says hi, Jolene, and Ricker says pud.
Hey, big hugs to everybody. I love and miss everybody, and things are good. Come visit. You never know what the future holds.
Yeah.
You just never know, babies. I love and miss everybody so much, though. I really do miss everybody so much.
It goes both ways.
Thank you, Jolene. We love you. Lovely Jolene, now Mom.
God, man.
Down in Colorado, smoking weed, drinking a mushroom tea. Don't they have all that down there, too?
They got the weed. Maybe thinking of Portland, my brother.
Yeah, Miss Jolene, man. She was. We
had
some great nights together.
She was mad at us all the time, but when we partied, dude, she threw down.
Remember, she used to hit me.
Oh no.
She used to be so mad at me, she didn't want to talk to me. I would just look at her and she'd go, "Don't you start with me, Montgomery." I didn't even say anything. It's like, hey, man, what the hell's going on?
I would say a loving way she would hit me on the buttocks because I didn't know enough rock.
But she was still angry.
Oh, yeah.
She did not pull. If she was mad at you, there was no passive aggression with her. You know,
no.
If she was mad at you, man, she would show up in your office and just ream you out and then walk away real fast.
And if you're looking for your pen or you're looking for your lighter, it was in Jolene's purse. That's all you need to know. But you still wouldn't be able to find the damn thing. Yes. All right, let's see here. We've got, I believe, within just a minute or two, from Mudhoney, we'll be talking to Mark Arm. Mm-hmm. And I know for a fact, Steve, that basically as far as you were there on the very beginning of Mudhoney, as far as checking out that band, because you were on the Sub Pop mailing list.
I was not, but the drummer of my band was, who was also my roommate, one of my best friends. And we were unfamiliar with Sub Pop. He said, I don't know, some dude turned me on to them. And back then, because Sub Pop was fledgling, and it was like mail order cassette tapes or something. So whatever. I didn't give it any thought, but I would get home from work, and probably twice a week, Sub Pop would send something, and there was just no music at all that sounded like what Seattle was doing, but we did not know Seattle was doing anything. So I remember him putting in Mudhoney. First of all, we thought that was a cool ass name.
Mark Arm, one of the first was with Sub Pop was Green River.
Right.
So it goes back to his high school band.
But we were like, dude, this stuff is effing awesome.
Okay. All right, let's see here. Okay. I believe we've got him. All right. And by the way, Mudhoney's still making music. Let's get him on the air there. Okay. Mark, ladies and gentlemen, give it up for former member of Mr. F and the Calculations, also a proud member of the Boy Scouts of America, and a little band known as Mudhoney. Give it up for Mark Arm. That's right, everybody. Mark Arm on the program.
Well, you've done your research, clearly.
Yeah.
No, man, we're big fans of your Boy Scout days.
Bellevue Christian High School graduate. This guy's done it all. Mark, how are you?
I'm well. How are you?
We're doing great. We're celebrating our big 50th anniversary today. Thank you for coming on the show, man.
Congratulations. 50.
We've only done 15, so the other 35 we're going to ignore. But I'm telling you, the last 15 years have been great.
Yeah, exactly. Awesome. Mark, when did you start listening to KISW?
Oh, it would have been in the 70s.
Okay. Do you have any memories of just being a kid and listening to the radio or any of your favorite bands at the time?
Well, yeah, I kind of in junior high sort of discovered the FM side of radio. And I was always like, when I was listening to Top 40, I was always drawn to kind of the louder, heavier stuff, what was actually played, like, maybe Green Eyed Lady or Radar Love or something. And then I discovered, like KISW and KZOK, basically those two stations. And I have a very clear memory of like hearing the Tokyo tapes on Steve Slayton's show, which was like kind of the Breakthrough Scorpions. I mean, it was before the Breakthrough Scorpions record. It was like their live record before Love Drive.
That had to be a huge moment. I mean, we're about the same age. You grew up listening to what your parents listened to, and you're right. When Barbra Streisand wasn't playing, maybe the Doobie Brothers came on and kind of saved your life. But, FM hits, you finally get a rock station. I'm assuming when you started listening to this station, your parents did not.
Oh, no. My mom only listened to classical music, and my dad only listened to news radio, so, yeah.
Were you one of those kids that was allowed to buy rock music, or was like, this Kiss album is satanic?
Oh, no, I wasn't allowed. I mean, and it wasn't because it was satanic. It was just because it was crappy music.
In their mind, this is garbage.
Yeah.
So what did your parents then think of Green River? What did they think of Mudhoney? Coming from that type of, I mean, when they heard
you were playing the crappy music.
They were really confused.
I mean, did they just maybe want you to, hey, maybe a trade school would be good? Or maybe...
my dad worked at Boeing, so, I thought he just, wanted me to be on some sort of, like, career path. And that kind of thing doesn't really even exist anymore the way it did then when you had, like, a pension and stuff like that, where you could work for a company for 20 or 30 years. And that wasn't anything I was really interested in.
Do you think that your degree in creative writing, do you think that helped you as a lead singer, as a writer, as a musician?
Maybe. I mean, it gave me a little bit of literary insight, I guess, into other people's writings, and maybe kind of helped me compose a sentence.
So you're basically saying it was a wasted degree.
Basically, yeah. I mean, I work in a warehouse, right?
Well, you work in the Sub Pop warehouse, correct?
Correct, yeah.
So what is it, for me, at the time that Sub Pop hit big and they're sending out cassette tapes, if you had sent them your address. I'm living on the East Coast, and we hear Mudhoneys and Soundgarden, and it is mind-blowing, and all we could think is Seattle must be the coolest city on earth, right? Because all the good music, from our perspective, is coming out of there. But at the same time that that's happening, for me on the East Coast, you guys are starting to get a little bit of play on this very station, right?
I assume so. I mean, I kind of... maybe not us as much as like Nirvana, Pearl Jam, Soundgarden, Alice in Chains. I mean, the big fish like eventually got into regular rotation. We were, I think, pretty much relegated to Damon Stewart's local music program, which was great.
Now, was that back to the Green River days, or was that in the Mudhoney?
Oh, no, it would have been Mudhoney days. Green River, no, it was just so below the radar.
Do you have any just rock star moments, Mark, where you realized where you were, what stage you were on, or the bands that were playing with you at that particular time, no matter what it was, were just like, wow, this is very cool. Here we are.
Well, one of the coolest things, and I keep talking about this over and over again, I have for like probably close to 30 years, was in 93, we did this tour of Australia with Iggy Pop, the B Suburban, Sonic Youth, Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds, and the Hard-Ons. And we're just sitting here going like, how is it that we're amongst this? It was pretty amazing.
Does Iggy Pop, does he own a shirt?
Yeah, actually, you can, if you look up like the 5'1" video, he's wearing a shirt for probably, I don't know, 30 seconds of it.
Okay. I don't think I would recognize him if he were wearing a shirt. We can be in an elevator together, but if he's wearing a shirt, like, who is this guy?
You see Iggy Pop, you hug him, you just assume he's going to be shirtless, right, Mark?
Pretty much.
Well, so when you were listening to KSW, who were some of the big bands, when you did discover the FM dial, who were some of the bands that KISW was playing? You said, finally, my people have come to me.
Well, it was just sort of like, hearing like My Generation for the first time, because I was kind of too young to hear it the first time around. And, Hendrix and Aerosmith and stuff, just stuff that was happening at that time in the 70s. And I was always drawn towards more of the raw just raw rock in general, and tend to shy away from like kind of the fruitier things like Journey. Right. And I became a huge Rush fan. That was a band that really motivated me, because they didn't just sing about the regular topics of like cars and girls or whatever.
They were the priests at the temples
totally
of
down with.
Oh, well, of course.
Yeah, absolutely.
But like at 14, I was like, I'm trying to pretend I'm mature.
Mark, thank you so much, man. We appreciate it.
Sure thing.
Absolutely.
Have a good time in the men's room.
New on Curiosity Stream, she was a loving wife, a devoted mother. She also stole atomic secrets and gave them to the Soviets. Meet the woman whose deception kick-started the Cold War on the spy who stole the atom bomb. And
what if they catch you?
Then I shall be shot.
They're coming! Come back!
relive history's most death-defying escapes. It's Impossible Escapes, Civil War. Watch now on Curiosity Stream. Annual plans are $20, just $1.67 a month. Visit CuriosityStream.com.
This podcast is brought to you by the Washington State Department of Health. As we continue to listen, learn, and grow, we are amplifying Black voices and perspectives in an effort to start a new COVID-19 vaccine conversation. We're sharing stories intended to help us navigate this unprecedented time together and to co-create solutions in support of the Black community. Hear these stories at weconsiderwa.org.
Oh, fiddlesticks! What, Wilbur? We just got hit and I think my back is all been out of shape.
You gotta talk with those whippersnappers at the Advocates Law Firm. They're the best injury lawyers around.
What? Pipe down, Clarence! Abner's telling me about the lawyers and the advocates. So what happened to you, Abner?
I was walking across the street with the light when some young punk came screeching around the corner. I lost a toe.
What? Shut it, Clarence! If you get injured, the advocates get results.
AdvocatesLaw.com.
That's news under the hour from KISW in Seattle.
50 years of KISW.
This is Brian Johnson from ACDC on KISW. Congratulations, lads.
99.9 KISW and KISW HD1 Seattle. A radio.com station. Back to the 50 years of KISW celebration, presented by Palace Law. 99.9 KISW.
Hey, y'all. This is Ian Moore. I'm a longtime touring musician, and I'm also the president of SMASH, Seattle Musicians' Access to Sustainable Health Care. At Smash, we offer Puget Sound musicians access to free and low-cost medical, dental, and mental health services. And we want to take a second to say happy anniversary, KISW, 50 years. 5 decades of not only rocking Seattle, but helping nonprofits like us make Seattle a great place to live and make music. Let's keep on doing it, y'all. Here's to another 50.
Oh, yes, we're back.
Yes, indeed.
People commenting on the lovely Jolene.
We got a couple. One regarding Mudhoney. I like this one. It says, Mudhoney is still one of my favorite Seattle bands. You're like, oh, that's cool.
That's good because they're still putting out music. They put out a new one in 2018.
Right. It says, my 9-month-old baby listens to it with me at bath time. The kid's going to be a badass. Someone else regarding Jolene. A lot of people very excited to hear her one-of-a-kind voice again. But it says, my favorite Jolene moment was when I ran into her and Thrill at Slim's Last Chance. We blasted Pantera on the jukebox all night, and I bought you guys so many tequila shots that my card ended up getting declined. Oops.
Sorry. We are celebrating 50 years with Rock. It's our 50th anniversary weekend brought to you by Palace Law. Check out the brand new KISW logo generator at KISW.com. You can go there and put your name in it. You know the famous Rock logo that it says. You can do that with your very own name, unlike the staff here. Go there and put dirty things in and then see how that works.
It'll still put it up.
Yeah. You can get it done. Yeah, apparently that's how we tested this thing out. It's like every cuss word you could come up with. But it's so very cool.
But they look cool.
Yeah. Speaking of very cool.
It's 2 words.
Right, that's it. Is this 2 words or 1? Do we hyphen it?
We realize what a special job we have. We realize what an incredible radio station this is. Trust us, it is not lost on us. And one of the things that makes KISW unique, if you've ever been around the country and you have listened to other rock radio stations, KISW is one of the only rock stations in the country that actually has an afternoon show.
Correct.
And, that's very unique to Seattle.
Yes,
it is. Very
is.
unique to KISW. Trust us when we tell you we do not want to get up in the morning and do any of that stuff. But there were some trailblazers before us. We're going to talk to some of the legendary jocks that have graced the airwaves. And if it wasn't for Langan and West, those dudes, and Crow and West doing an afternoon show, then there's no way in hell that we wouldn't even be here.
Right, that's for sure.
So, without further ado, it is Mike West. Mike, how are you?
Hey, fine. I thought this was like a Valentine's Day deal because Valentine's Day is just a couple of days away.
It's
but
2
this
days
is
away. Yes, indeed.
Anniversary?
Yeah, we have a fixed menu. You can go to your.
That's a big deal, huh?
Right, you can only go to your restaurant, but you can't get what you want because we only have 5
we have
things.
fixed the menu today.
Exactly. That's what we do on Valentine's Day. Mike, man, you are a legendary figure here in Seattle. Legendary figure at KISW. We've been on for 15 years. We hear a few names every once in a while.
But you are one of the names that always. What we're saying is we're sick of hearing about you.
Yeah. You are the man, and we definitely owe you some gratitude based on the fact that we've been working in the afternoons now for 15 years, and I don't believe that we would ever have the opportunity to do a talk show in the afternoon if it wasn't for what you guys did back in the day, because if not, we would be getting up at 3:30 in the morning and probably doing a morning show someplace in Topeka. So we just want to say thank you because you had one of the first afternoon drive shows probably in the country, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, it really wasn't a thing back then. It was, you had a couple of people in the morning, maybe one person in the morning and an afternoon person and one person in the afternoon and one person at night and a couple of weekenders, and that was about it. So, yeah, I was so naive and stupid back then. I was just 20 years old or something like that. I didn't know any better. So I just thought, oh, this is cool.
Who were you paired up with first?
Gary Crow. What happened was there was this guy that worked at a station in Bellevue that doesn't exist anymore, obviously. And his name is John Evans. He was the news director at KISW eventually. But I used to listen. I was a radio nerd like you guys. So I used to tune around the dial and I just globbed onto this dude. And so I called him on the request line one day and he goes, yeah, well, I'm going to this FM thing called KISW. And I think they're looking for an intern or something. So when he got there, he called me back. I made a demo tape I was a news guy back then. I made a demo tape. And the next thing I know, I get hired to fill in. And then he goes to Los Angeles and San Francisco. And then all of a sudden, I'm working with Crow.
And he's one of your best friends.
Gary?
Well, that's what you put on the sheet.
What? I mean,
yeah, you said who was the favorite person to work here at Best Friend at the station back in the day, Gary Crow.
Gary is one of my best friends.
You need to admit that now,
sincerity.
because he's probably listening.
No, Gary's like a brother. I mean, I've known him for the, how many years has this been now? We grew up together, He's 10 years older than I am. So when I first started working with him, I used to listen to him when I was a kid, and it's like, oh, crap, I'm working with, I was so nervous the first day I started working with Crow. We had these Shure microphones that looked like pills. You remember those back in the day? I don't make them. I was so nervous I didn't know which end to use. And I thought if I turned it around, I would be backwards, like, wasn't that? So it was like, God, I'm working with a legend. I'm just looking at him across the glass, because we worked in separate studios back in the day. So
that way you wouldn't kill each other.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, exactly.
Many diseases too.
What are your, as far as your memories go of working here, is there anything that really stands out where you just go, wow, man, that was an incredible experience? Because look, radio's changed a lot, and as far as, the backstage parties, the way the bands are, all those different things, it really evolved.
It's not that it evolved, it's that bands can't openly do cocaine while doing an interview on the radio.
Right. Now you go backstage and everybody's on their phone. And they're kind of, FaceTiming their family or whatever they're doing, but it's just not the same type of environment. But when you were here, man, it was the golden age of having a good time, of throwing down, working hard, and playing hard.
Yeah. Well, we were all kind of the same age, and the thing I always tell people that ask me these questions, it wasn't because I was so cool or Gary was so cool. It's just that we worked at a cool radio station, and we just happened to be lucky to hang out with these guys, and some of them became really good friends and knew your first name. Like anytime Van Halen was in town, man, they'd, hey, Mike, hey, bro, yeah, you do it. It's just like, wait a second. These guys they know us, It was stuff like that. It was like Van Halen coming in and just taking over the studio and having a party, and drinking, and there were strippers back, and everything that you cannot do now because of cancel culture and other stuff. Right. We did, and we didn't. Again, it's like, whoa, this is just the way it is. This is rock radio. We're stars.
Yeah,
we're hanging with stars.
Our big deal on the birthday today was we were just going to order a pizza. If we didn't know they could get strippers,
exactly. We're excited about that.
We're really happy about the pizza coming.
But what are the toppings? You better make sure that they don't piss anybody off.
No pineapple pizza.
No, God, no.
Yeah. No. What would you say, as far as your personal experience interviewing bands? Is it Van Halen that you had the most fun with, or did you have a bigger experience, or something that stands out as far as the artists, or just some of the more prominent people of Seattle?
Yeah, well, I guess we always come back to Van Halen, because that was the first time I had ever been around a real band, God, these guys are stars. They came in at nights. Steve Slayton, who used to do nights and afternoons at KISW, had them in, and he needed somebody to answer the request lines so they could ask questions of the band. And I was like 20 years old. It's like, hell yeah, I'm going to do that. And then, after that's all over and they're just cool guys, we hung out and drank Budweiser, It's like, wow,
I'm 20.
I'm living large at 20. Yeah.
Right, exactly.
I'm a Beatles freak. So when I grew up, it was like, I want to be on the radio so I can meet the Beatles, and, I ended up hanging out with McCartney and, being backstage with him, and for an afternoon, just shadowing him kind of and interviewing him. And I used to do his concert commercials when they had concert commercials. My son went to his school in Liverpool. He's a musician. So stuff like that would not have happened without KISW. I get a little choked up even thinking about this stuff, because I don't think about it all the time,
Well, we're at KISW, and again, we're excited about a pizza. This pales in comparison.
Mike, thank you so much. We really appreciate you joining us, man. You're a legend here, and thank you for being a trailblazer and making sure that we don't again have to get up at 3:30 in the morning to do a radio show. Greatly appreciated, and all the best to you, man.
Congratulations to you. You guys, but you're working for a legendary radio station, and it's been that way since, 50 years ago. And way to go for you guys too, man. Congratulations.
Hey, thank you, man.
Thank you, Mike. Appreciate it, man.
There you go. Mike West, Crow and West.
I know.
That's a big deal.
Well, we heard about them all the time when we first started. Like, oh, man, you guys.
You got nothing on them.
So it's nice to actually talk to them, you know what I mean?
You don't do no funny bits or nothing. You guys suck. Play some music.
Boy, that was like the first 3 months. Shut up!
I was in the city market on Capitol Hill. Some guy didn't know I was behind him, and he goes, yeah, should be the Rock of Seattle, not the Talk of Seattle.
How many times did we hear that?
Oh, my God. And he was in sweatpants.
It makes you angry.
It does.
Oh, God. Our question.
This podcast is brought to you by the Washington State Department of Health. When we think about the COVID-19 vaccine hesitancy in the Black community, let's remember, it didn't happen by chance. It's justified in history. But the will to change the narrative is strong today, and our people are lending their voices to the conversation. We're sharing our stories and the reasons that made us choose the vaccine so we can lead the way for others to make a well-informed choice too. To hear our stories, visit hereforuswa.org.
$20 million, $19 million, $6 million. These are all awards recovered for clients of Phillips Law Firm. To win big, you have to fight big. And Phillips Law has been fighting the too big to fail insurance industry for decades. Not every case will have a multi-million-dollar outcome, but Phillips Law will fight just as hard to recover the outcome you deserve. If you or a loved one has been injured in a car accident or on the job, call or click today at 1-800-JUSTICE or visit justiceforyou.com.